This video is kindly brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build an online presence. Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. If you're new here, my name is Bethany. I'm the girl behind Well Love Knits. And sadly, spring is quickly coming to a close here in Belgium. We're getting a lot more warmer days. This one is also a warm day, especially. I'm trying my best to wear knitwear for the video because I love to wear my knits in all of my videos. But it's definitely getting a little too hot for even this cotton cardigan, which is sad because spring is one of my favorite times of year. But on the bright side, that means today we're going to be looking into 15 free patterns for summer because now that it's getting a lot warmer, we might need to change course on some of the projects that we're working on and invite lighter fabrics, lighter materials, things that are easier to work up in the heat and to wear in the heat, and that's where this list comes in. So if you haven't caught up with the 15 free pattern lineup in the past, basically before each season, I like to kind of scour the internet and see what's available for free patterns that you can knit up. Usually I like to go for things that are wardrobe staples or things that have really interesting construction so that you can create garments that will last in your wardrobe and then also kind of grow your skills as a knitter. So summer is a tough one for free patterns. It was definitely a lot more difficult than some of the other lineups that I've done, you know, like in fall and winter. It's so easy. There are just so many different sweaters on the market that yeah, there's really no trouble finding anything. But for summer, even paid patterns is pretty hard to come by ones that you really like. It was a challenge, but I'm really happy with the list that I have to share with you guys. Definitely let me know what you guys think in the comments. If you liked any of these patterns, definitely give this video a like as well. It really helps me out and supports the channel. One last thing before we get into the patterns, I just want to say a huge thank you to the sponsor of today's video, Squarespace. This video is kindly brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one platform to build an online presence. With Squarespace, you can design a website that is entirely unique to you and your needs, whether that's to launch an online shop, showcase a portfolio of your hard work, or regularly share blog posts or other creative content. I've been telling you guys all about Squarespace for a while now. It is my favorite platform to create and update a website. Recently, I've started reworking my existing website, welloveknits.com. When I first launched my page, I chose a template that worked for me and only slightly modified it to add pictures and change the color swatches, which at the time was exactly the solution I was looking for. But since Squarespace makes building a website so easy, I'm much more confident now to build a site from scratch and customize the layouts and content to exactly how I want it to be. If you're interested in giving Squarespace a try, check out squarespace.com for a free trial. When you're ready to launch your website, click the link in the description to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So thanks again, Squarespace, and let's get into those patterns. So starting out the pattern lineup, I have 3 from Wool and the Gang. And Wool and the Gang, I have featured it in a pattern lineup in the past, but they've really been strengthening, I think, their free pattern library on their website. You guys know that I really like Wool and the Gang because they really helped me out as a beginner knitter. All of their kits and materials really helped me strengthen my skills, which I really appreciated. So going back to their website and kind of seeing what they have available in terms of free patterns was pretty cool because I'm really happy with some of the ones that I found. The first one I wanted to share was the stirrup top. So at first I thought this one was a crochet pattern, so I almost scrolled right past it and just said, okay, that's not the one. But actually it is a knitting pattern, which makes it all the more interesting because of the stitch that's used. So this picture right here is showing off fishnet stitch. So that's what this halter top is worked up in. And I think it's really cool. This could be a new stitch for you to kind of practice, and definitely one that I've never worked up before, which makes it really interesting. And it creates this light and airy fabric that would be, one, really cool to knit up, and then also really cool to wear. And I mean that like temperature wise. So here I'm showing off the blue greenish version because you can really see all of that stitch definition and what it really looks like. But if I were to knit this one up, I would definitely go for a black. I really like the black sample a lot better than the blue, just because I feel like it's a little bit more versatile, and it kind of paired with the bandeau underneath is a little less revealing. Because you're definitely going to want to put a bandeau underneath this one. I could really see this just for like poolside or at the beach, something where you don't really need to be too modest. And I think it's a really cute one to wear. Next up, we have the Sweet Marie shawl pattern. It's a simple triangle shawl with this lovely like drop stitch detail. Drop stitch details I feel like are all over Instagram right now, and they just look like so much fun to knit and really easy too, because you just drop some stitches and gain a lot of length in the piece, which would make the piece very easy and fast to knit up. And you know, I'm not really one for shawls, but I'm really starting to be more and more shawl curious. And this one I would definitely see myself knitting up and really liking. I really love the blue. Maybe it's because the model is also a redhead that's kind of inspiring me. But I think this would be a really nice beach cover-up or pool cover-up, but then also something that you could really always have on hand with you throughout the summer in case it gets chilly in the evening. That's definitely a problem more so for Belgium and other northern countries. Maybe where you are, you won't need that sort of thing, but at the beach, you would definitely appreciate, I think, maybe something to cover up when you just get out of the water. Okay, so since you guys really loved the dress pattern from the last video, I know you guys love dresses, and I had to add another one to the list. This one is the I Feel Love dress. I almost scrolled right past it because it was knit up in all black yarn. There's only one picture on the website and it's knit in black yarn, and you really can't see anything at all. So I was just, you know what? Maybe this isn't one that I should really look at, but I had downloaded the pattern and I had a look at the design sketch, which I'll add right here. And I think it actually looks really cute. And looking into the pattern, I think this would be a really fun knit to have in your wardrobe. It would certainly be very flattering because it is knit in 1x1 rib. And I always find that ribbed knits are the most flattering. I'm wearing a ribbed knit right now, store-bought, unfortunately. But I feel like they really like cinch in really nicely and yeah, make it a little bit more flattering on the body. And for a dress, I think that would be really helpful so that it's not too baggy, it's fitting all the right places. So this dress is a midi length and it has 2 slits, one on each side of the leg. But what I really thought was cool are these little tie details that they have, like in the middle of each slit, so then you could kind of tie it up so it's not like flying everywhere. I just thought that was a really interesting detail to add in, and it really did catch my eye, and I thought it would be really interesting to knit up. Moving on, the next one that I have for you is the Swift Tank by Cool Stitches. If you're not familiar with Cool Stitches, she is Nicole from Portugal. She's a very proficient sewer, and I think in the past couple of years she's gotten into knitting as well. Obviously she has, because she has a knitting pattern. So I think it was last year she came out with the Swift Tank, and for me, in my opinion, this just looks like a really easy to wear top. Not only easy to wear, but easy to knit too. It features my favorite 2x2 rib up at the top and the bottom, kind of cinching everything in, and then it's just stockinette stitch. So I really just think all in the round, it would just be so easy and quick to do, and in a cotton, it would be really perfect to add to your wardrobe as a staple that you would just grab for every summer. Now, it is important to say that this technically is a free pattern, but she has a pay what you can option, so in case you want to support her work, you can definitely do so and give her a donation so she can continue to make beautiful patterns. So naturally, I had to add something from Purl Soho. Actually, 2 somethings. The first one is a wearable piece. This is the Drawstring Camisole by Purl Soho. It's just a simple stockinette halter top that has a gathered top and in the back as well, like a gathered neckline. A halter top is always a good idea, I think, in summer. And then with this nice silk yarn. I can almost feel how like nice it would be like next to skin. I don't know about you guys, but it's always, for me, the most simple designs always have the most impact. This is definitely one of those pieces that is, like I said, again, extremely elegant, and that little like subtle shine of the silk is really perfect. This would stay in your wardrobe for a really long time because it is a timeless piece, and that to me makes it extremely knitworthy. So the second one from Purl Soho is Elisa's Nest Tote. So it's a market bag. And, you know, I think there are so many market bags on the market, but most of them are all crochet patterns. I have rarely seen, I don't think I've seen another one. At least in my search, this was the only knit market bag that I really came across. And so I had to add it in just in case, again, if you are not a crocheter, not very good at that, then you can definitely knit this one up and learn a new stitch as well. I think the stitch used here is the climbing trellis lace pattern, I think. I read that in the description, and it looks like a lot of fun to learn. It definitely would fool a lot of people into thinking that you know how to crochet if you don't know how to crochet. So I wanted to add in this option in case you are not very prolific in crochet, just like me, and maybe you wanted to use your knit skills instead. I think if you knit this one up in a cotton or a hemp or linen, all three of those, if you have them in your stash, it would be a perfect stash busting project too. Okay, so last free pattern lineup, I was really impressed with the designer of Originally Lovely with the skirt pattern and her square neck top tank. So of course I had to check her site and see if she had anything else available in terms of free patterns. So I found the perfect t-shirt by this designer, and I think it just looks like a simple, nice, perfect t-shirt. It's really in the name. What really made me add this one to the list is the fact that it would be so nice to work on in summertime because the project is relatively small, the materials are very lightweight, and you wouldn't get overheated. It's not like working with wool and mohair. You would absolutely hate yourself in the heat working on this project. And on top of that, it would be really nice to have as a transition piece, so as summer is coming to a close, you can wear this into the fall as well and then begin to layer as needed. It would just be a really worthwhile knit to do. On top of that, there's also the Minimal Tee by Sarah and Oliver. I wanted to include both of these even though they're relatively the same. They're both simple t-shirt patterns. But in terms of sizing, I feel like the Minimal Tee looks a little bit more oversized, whereas the Perfect T-shirt is more fitted. So the Minimal Tee is not really easy to see in the pictures. They're kind of far away. And the only other one is very close up, so there's no like in the middle. But from what I can see, it looks a lot more oversized. And so depending on your personal preference, maybe your body type, this one would be a good option, but both of them I think would be really great projects to do. Next up we have the Sandpiper Tank by Universal Yarn. This is a new brand to me, but I was really excited to find their free pattern library. They have a lot of other things to choose from, which is really cool. And the reason that I added this one in is, again, who doesn't love a ribbed garment? It kind of reminds me of the top that I'm wearing right now with a little bit of a higher neckline, nothing so deep V. This one here is a little bit more modest than some of the other patterns we've already looked through. So in case you are a working girl and you need to have some outfits for the office as well, this would be a really nice knit piece to invest some time in. And again, it would be very nice and flattering because of that ribbed texture. I think it could be really easily dressed up for work or another event that you might have, depending on the yarn that you choose, of course, and then also dressed down. So if you're going on a night out with friends or just a casual dinner, you could have this for multiple different types of uses. Another really interesting top that's a little bit more on the modest side for summer would be the Desert Star Pullover by Barico Yarn. I found this pullover really interesting because of the construction. It's like a high-low sweater t-shirt. And I don't know, I just thought it was really cool. I really liked the look of the top layered over top of a dress like it is in the sample. I thought that was really cool, and I also thought it would be really nice to be paired with a pencil skirt. This is just more my style, I think. I'm a little bit more on the modest side. I really like those kind of flowy garments too. So this one I feel like would be really worthwhile for me to knit up. And maybe you have the same preference as I do. And I feel like if I had seen this sooner, I would have definitely made this for my Me-Made maternity wardrobe. It might be a little too late now, but especially because of that high-low detail at the front, it'd be perfect for a baby bump. And yeah, it would have been really cute. Too bad. This top here doesn't have a name, and the brand is one that I feel like I'm gonna butcher. Schackenmeyer. So this is a square neck tank top with a rib and eyelet detail. This combination together I would have never dreamt up on my own. I really could not have envisioned that. Eyelets and ribbing kind of coming together to create this really interesting fabric. Yeah, I just never would have thought about it, but seeing it on the sample, I just find it really interesting and pretty cool. So that's why I had to add it to the list. And of course, it's a square neck tank top, and I love square necks. I think they look really flattering on almost everybody, so I love the square neck, definitely. One thing I'm not too crazy about is this lace detail at the bottom. I just feel like it's unnecessary and doesn't really go with the rib and eyelet. There's just a lot going on. Not to diss the design in any way, but I just feel like for my personal preferences, I would remove that. So if I were to knit this one up, I would continue and then just either continue the ribbed eyelet pattern or just cast off when it gets to the lace detail, and then just have a nice cropped square neck tank top to pair with skirts and shorts. Next up, we have the Margarita top. Now this one isn't exactly my style, but I know that early 2000s fashion is in again for whatever reason. So I had to add it to the list because there's probably some of you out there who are absolutely embracing this comeback. So this is the Margarita top by Audrey, and that is the Italian brand that I also featured in the last video. So I'm not 100% sure about the translation of the pattern or like how easy it is to read in terms of the instructions. But if you're brave enough, you can definitely give this one a try and then live out your 90s, early 2000s rom-com dreams. So for the last three patterns, I actually got them from Hobby, which I didn't actually know that Hobby had such an extensive free pattern library. So definitely go check that out for other patterns that you could potentially knit up for free. But here we're focusing specifically summer patterns, and there was still a little bit to choose from, which was great. First up, this is the Audrey summer top, and this one I picked out because it's very similar to the tank top version of the Cumulus design by Petite Knit. So that, I was gonna say the Cumulus top, but I think it's the Cumulus tank, or I don't know, it's something. Just search it, you'll find it. You'll know what I'm talking about, I think. I think everybody knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so this is the free kind of version of that. So the difference here, though, that I think is notable is the shaping of the back, and I actually really like it. I think it's quite interesting and flattering. In terms of the design itself, I think it's a really great simple camisole, and you can't really go wrong with those. It does feel a little unfinished to me, and what I would do if I were to knit this one up is kind of clean up the front with an I-cord, which is essentially just the Cumulus top, but again, this one is for free, and it has a little bit of different elements, so you could add something new to your wardrobe. Next up, we have the Ellen top. And this one I chose because one shoulder tops were, I hope they still are, but I know that they were last summer very in. I hope I'm not out of touch here. But with this top, I thought it would be really interesting to add in because of the construction. The construction looks super cool, especially the body. So if you look really closely at the pattern, it's actually knit sideways, so the stockinette stitches are rotated at a 90-degree angle, which is really cool. You don't see that very often. So I thought that was definitely worthwhile to highlight. And then there's this garter stitch that's worked up along the top and the bottom for the ribbing. Honestly, for me, I would just make one small modification and skip the garter stitch altogether. I'm just not too crazy about it for this particular design. I do like garter stitch though, I will say, especially on cardigans. This one is really great. But what I would do instead is, depending on how this is knit up, I would just skip the garter stitch altogether and then just pick up stitches and work twisted rib or something similar. I think twisted rib would be really cool with this piece, and add that to the top and the bottom just to kind of make it my own. And finally, we have the Isabella summer top, which is this ribbed halter top, which would be really perfect, I think, for a casual day out or maybe a day at the beach. Definitely giving me a lot of summery vibes. The sample here is knit in bamboo yarn, and personally, I wouldn't knit it in bamboo yarn. I just find that cotton maybe is a better fiber for more structure. Personally, I think this might just be a me problem. With my tension, I have a really hard time with bamboo. I feel like it's really uneven and the fabric isn't, it doesn't like stay together very well, or like the tension doesn't stay even enough is what I'm trying to say. So I would swap out with any other type of more structured summer approved yarn. But yeah, even still, it is another cute option and it is for free. I knit up a halter top last summer and I thought that it was one of the best things that I could have made last year in the summertime, because we had like 1 week where it was absolutely unbearably hot, which is just unheard of for Belgium. But I did make a video on the making of that halter top, and there is kind of like a recipe style free pattern that's available on my website. So as a bonus, I'm gonna link that one below as well. But that's it. I'm really impressed with these patterns because, like I said, pickings were pretty slim. It's very difficult for summer patterns in general, so free patterns just make it all the more difficult. But I do really like this list. I feel like there was something for everybody depending on your style. So I hope there's at least one project that caught your eye that you might put on your to knit list for this season. Before we go, I want to say a huge thank you to Squarespace for supporting this channel, and I want to say thank you for supporting brands that support me. It really helps out the continuation of content like this. If you liked this video, definitely give it a like and maybe subscribe to join this small knitting community, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!